All right, so let's get into it, guys. The Cavs decide quickly. I mean, they didn't really let it sit for very long, but both their head coach and their GM, Kenny Atkinson and Kobe Altman, will return to the Cavs for another season. Obviously, this will be, Kobe's 8th year as GM next year?
Well, technically, he's the president of basketball operations.
Oh, okay. But I mean, he's been with the organization
He's
a
been
long
with the organization
time.
for a long, long time, yes.
Yeah. I was just telling the guys off the air that I caught up with a cousin of mine who I hadn't spoken to in a while, and he told me that Kobe Altman was his intern. My cousin is a physical therapist. He grew up in New York. Kobe Altman grew up in New York. And when Kobe was, I can't remember if he told me high school or college, but it was probably college, but he interned with my cousin. And then my cousin saw him get the Cavs job. He's like, is that the same Kobe Altman that was my intern?
That's crazy.
He was going to be a doctor?
I think he might have just, a physical therapist. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
I guess PTs are doctors. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, anyway, but he's here. The bigger shocker is that Kobe Altman, I guess, is back. G. Bush, let's start with you.
You mean Kenny?
Kenny Atkinson.
You mean Kenny? I thought.
Kenny.
I'm sorry. That's what I meant to say. Kenny Atkinson, yeah. I'm a little rusty. Not as rusty as the Knicks were for 3 quarters before the Cavs collapsed, but rusty. Go ahead, G. Bush.
I joked. We got a season ticket holder here, right?
Yeah.
And we got Mikey McNuggets, who covers the Cavs all the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I said, you done went up there and who told Dan Gilbert? They wrote that note quickly. They were like, yes, and let's go ahead and calm this down. Here's my thought process on it. I'm a big fan of The Wire. When Marlo comes out and they're sticking somebody up, he said, either do it or don't do it. I got somewhere to be. And my thought process is, Dan Gilbert, either you're going to do it or you are not going to do it, but you need to figure out what you're going to do because the team needs retooling. And the thing that I look at that is difficult to do is when you're trying to retool a team and you need to be in the weeds of figuring out what necessarily mental gymnastics or financial gymnastics that you need to do to get this team together, it's kind of hard to fire the GM, fire the coach, and then retool the team.
Right.
That don't be working like that. So, and by the way, Kobe, when you talk about it, Dan Gilbert hired him, right? So, it's kind of hard to say, okay, you were the coach of the year last year. I think you had a terrible performance in the playoffs this year. However, firing him right now at a point in time where you need to recruit people, where you need to figure out what you're going to do with this roster, I can see why Dan Gilbert says I need to concentrate today on what the big thing is, and that's getting some pieces and parts and figuring out how to do it. I think, to be honest with you, James Harden and Donovan Mitchell like Kenny because you know what they said, he's a player's coach, the ultimate one. So he probably had a vote of confidence from a lot of people in that locker room. So after you sit back and look at it, after the sting wears off, I think after Dan calmed down a little bit, Dustin, it was kind of like, okay, we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. We're kind of hamstrung when it comes to making moves. The best thing for us right now is to figure out how we get players, not figure out how we get players, a new GM, and a new coach, and try to do it in one offseason.
Dustin, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's easy to watch this Eastern Conference Finals sweep and say, this is on Kenny, primarily for Game 1 for the lack of calling timeouts and kind of calming the guys down and getting them through that moment, And then they get swept, and the way they get swept, and he had some comments in the media that were just asinine, and I get all that, However, I mean, the guy's been here for a season. They had a really good year last year. They had a better year this year. First time I've seen the Cavaliers go to the Eastern Conference Finals since we had a guy that were number 23 that was really good. So I'm disappointed with the way that they ended the season, guys. There's no doubt about that. It stunk to watch them kind of go out with a whimper after 2 series. They go to 7 games. Probably shouldn't have gone to 7 games against Toronto, but they take out the number 1 seed on the road into Game 7. Like, you have to remember some of the positive things that did happen this season and not get so caught up in the moment of, like, we got to just make a change.
Yeah.
But I think that Garrett hit it on the head a little bit, like, what's Donovan want? I mean, this team's Donovan's team. And so we got to figure out if Kenny's the right guy for the job. We got to figure out what this roster is going to look like next season. Obviously, James Harden's got a player option. There's a lot of talk about Giannis and LeBron and all these things. We're going to trade Mobley. Like, I'm sure we'll talk quite a bit about that. But right now, it sounds like Kenny Atkins going to be back. Donovan likes him, And you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I don't love Kenny Atkinson. I think there's some things that he certainly could have improved upon this season, but overall, I think he's a good basketball coach. I do. But man, it's tough to get over this series.
It is,
because it was a really devastating series, guys. It really was.
And I think, Dustin, some of the it's self-inflicted comments.
Yeah.
If he would have just kept it right here in the middle, hey, listen, the Knicks are a good team. We can't lose game one like that. I mean, that took its toll on us, and you know, they hit a lot of shots. The Knicks are a great team. We give them credit. But when you say analytically, we're 2-2. You start talking about it, we got unlucky.
Yeah.
Like, that just make you look crazy.
Yeah.
That's what gets people like us being like, come on now, you know good and well, we didn't. Any coach worth his salt is not going to say that. And I think he's honest to a fault. Like, so I think if he wouldn't have said some of those things, I think we would have felt a lot better about the series. We just, hey, we got beat.
Yeah.
But not we were better and we didn't prove it and we were tired. No, we can't say that, man.
Go ahead, Mike.
Dustin said something that I want to just re-emphasize really quickly before I hear your opinion, Bull. Kenny has the support of the players, and after the Game 4 loss, Donovan gave a 2.5-minute answer on why he thought Kenny was the right guy, why he believed in Kenny Atkinson, and James Harden gave about a 90-second answer on why he believed Kenny Atkinson was the right coach to get this team to gel together and come together next season and deserved another shot. When they let go of J.B. Bickerstaff 2 seasons ago, there was none of that public support from the players.
Right.
It was actually the opposite. And I have to imagine that Kenny Atkinson wouldn't be sitting in the position he is in right now, the seat he is in right now, if it weren't for those comments from Donovan and from James Harden publicly in front of the media after that Game 4 loss to kind of reinsure confidence in Kenny to Dan Gilbert.
Let's face it. The reality is the players make the NBA. It's not the NFL, where like if a player, unless it's a Tom Brady or Peyton Manning with almost no exceptions, the players have almost no say on who the coach is. In basketball, it's the complete opposite. The players have way more say than any other sport on who the coach is. And that's the reason he kept his job. And the truth is, how many coaches in the NBA, just like we say with the NFL, really make that big a difference? Most of the coaches are somewhere, they're fine, it depends on the talent, there's moments. Now, nobody can deny that Kenny Atkinson in Game 1 of this series did one of the worst coaching jobs I've ever seen in almost 50 years of watching basketball. You mentioned a couple of the items. To me, the most egregious thing was that play, and I know this has been talked about a million times. I'm sure I wasn't here, so let me just say it for a second. When the Knicks made that comeback, to have James Harden guarding Brunson, thank you, play after play. When Brunson ran around Harden, 6 plays in a row as if he was in cement shoes?
In a row.
That was outrageous. One of the worst things I've ever seen. The fact that, as you said, one of you guys said, didn't call timeout to stop that and say, okay, and look at me saying, let's put Dean Wade on this guy. Let's put anybody on this guy.
Struz, find a way to get
Because
him.
the only way the Knicks were going to win that game is if he did what he did, Brunson. That was it.
And we literally just,
we let him.
We needed to stop Brunson.
One
time.
Once. And they couldn't.
Once.
Because he couldn't miss and Harden couldn't stop him. Yeah. That being said, yes, ultimately you guys are right. The best the 2 superstars of this team, like Kenny Atkinson, that's one of the most important things in the NBA. The players have to buy into the coach. So whether we love the coach or not is irrelevant. The best players on this team do, and that's what happened. Another quick story, by the way. I got all this information when I was away at my mother's funeral. But I met this couple that was friends with my sister and brother-in-law, and they said to me, the husband in the couple said to me, I think his name was Mike, goes, I hung out with Donovan Mitchell last year in the offseason. I'm like, what are you talking about? You hung out with Donovan Mitchell? I thought he was full of crap. He starts showing me pictures. He was at somewhere, I don't know, some fancy resort, and he and his wife were there. It was very quiet. There was like nobody in this place. It was pretty quiet. And Donovan Mitchell shows up for some party. I don't know if it was his birthday. I don't know what. I can't remember the occasion. But Donovan Mitchell showed up with like his handlers, and it was just kind of Donovan Mitchell. And Donovan was started hanging out with this guy and his wife, and they were just like partying together. and they showed me pictures of Donovan and them like having drinks, doing shots. Said that Donovan couldn't have been a nicer guy, by the way.
I've told you guys, Donovan is exactly what you want your NBA superstar athlete to
be.
He
couldn't be nicer. So that was cool to hear. But
the one thing that you know, even Donovan loses with a level of grace. Like he's a pro's pro. Like you don't. You know, even when he started answering the questions about like LeBron, he laughed and said, "Hey, listen, you're not gonna get me on that one." He's a solid human being. Yeah. Like, you know, and that's the thing. You know, you may be disappointed, and I know Donovan is disappointed, and you get past the loss. But the one thing that you know is he's not a crash out artist. He's not going to do a bunch of stuff. And if there's one person who you kind of want to root for and be like, man, I hope y'all can figure this out, it is Donovan Mitchell, right? Because he has a level of energy where he does believe in his guys. He does want to pour into people. And from all accounts, he's a really good human being on and off the court. I'm just wondering now, McNuggets, now that that's solidified with Kenny Atkinson, we're going to be talking a lot about what fits, what don't fit, where it's going, how it's moving.
I think we know that the Cavs' only chance, at least this is how I feel, the Cavs' only chance of winning a championship is, and this is almost impossible, and Giannis may be the only option, they have to get a player better than Donovan Mitchell. Because Donovan Mitchell's not good enough. You can't win a championship with him as your best player. I think we clearly know that. It's deep enough into his career. He didn't play well enough in this series. And I don't care what it takes. I don't care about Evan Mobley. I don't care. You have, and Giannis might get hurt and not make it through the season. But to me, what other choice do you have?
But Bull, who are we getting better than Donovan Mitchell?
Giannis.
It's Giannis. It's basically Giannis or nobody.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's just Giannis. That's it.
I don't think there's a realistic path to anybody else.
Maybe there's an alternate world where Jaylen Brown asked for a trade. But I'm not sure he's 100%. I'm not 100% sure he's better than Donovan as is.
I mean, if we to get Giannis, we got to give up Mobley, right?
Yes, I don't care. I'm fine with that.
Even for a 1-year rental?
Giannis would sign an extension.
You think he would sign an extension?
You don't make the trade unless you get the guarantee from Giannis that he's signing an extension.
Well, I would agree with that, but I mean, if he didn't agree to a trade,
I would still do it, even if he didn't agree to a trade. Yeah. But Mike saying he would sign an extension, I obviously like it more there.
Harden said he wouldn't this morning. So
Harden said he wouldn't.
No, Joe Varden. I listened to him this morning.
Varden said he would.
I think you need him and LeBron. I ain't gonna lie. I think you need both of them. Because I literally feel like, have you ever watched the movie?
It just puts a lot of pressure on the organization, man.
It's there.
And especially Donovan Mitchell.
It's there. Yeah. You ever watch the movie Margin Call?
Yes.
Remember they have the midnight meeting. They pull up. Stock market is crashing. They got a bunch of securities that's about to go to zero. They pull up. The guy, the CEO, he says, tell me in layman's term what's going to happen. The analyst tells him, well, listen, we have a bag full of securities that are going to be zero. We need to sell them before the public finds out they're going to zero. So he said, we have to sell all our inventory. He said, yes. He said, okay, let's do it. Let's go. Get all your people together, get them on the floor, and sell it at $2 or $2 off of the $10, whatever it is. $10, sell it at $2. He said, that's a fire sale. People are going to figure out that we're dumping our stocks and the stock price is going to go. He says, no, it is what it is. That's what we get to. Kobe Altman and Dan Gilbert they have an asset right now. And for every second they wait past a certain amount of time, those assets decline. James Harden, 36, that asset is declining. Donovan Mitchell, we know
what's he going to be? He's like 31, 32, right?
31.
Donovan?
Yeah.
He's 29 right now. He'll be 30 for next year.
He's 30. So the second you moved Darius Garland, you put yourself on the clock.
That's right.
So now we are where we are. You have to now go all the way in. So you know this iteration didn't work. Are you going to mortgage your future? Probably. Are you taking a risk because Giannis might not sign a deal and he's been injured for like 2-3 years in a row? Sure. Could LeBron come in and you got to figure a way to appease him and find a way to give him more money? Sure. But that's what you give all these financial people all this money for. They got to figure it out because what they got right now ain't going to work. And they've already won in an apron. They've already spent the luxury tax money. They've already went all in on the core four. If it didn't work, you got to pivot. So it might be a 1 or 2 year rental, guys, but it is what it is.
With Harden at 36, and how old's Giannis, Mike?
31.
I think he's 31.
31. Like, how many years would you have anyway?
Maybe 1, 2.
We can't wait. Evan Mobley's a good player. He might go somewhere else and become a great player. It's not going to happen here. Like, he's not going to take that step to be the best player on this team.
He needs
it's not going to happen.
He needs a different cast around him.
Right.
He's going to send to the offensive player. One thing before we break real quick, and then
Yeah.
we'll bring Tyvis in. Later in the show, we're going to talk about other names, possibly big fish hunting. We're going to talk about what areas Kenny Atkinson can improve upon as a head coach because he's being brought back. But the question I want to wrap this up with, they're bringing back both Kenny and Kobe. Did they have to be a package deal, or in your mind, could they have let go of one and retain the other, whichever way you want?
Why did they have to be a package deal? Did you guys think they had to be a package deal?
I did not.
No.
In fact, I thought that Kobe was safe regardless.
Yeah, I didn't think Kobe.
I never once thought that Kobe should be fired or even on the chopping block, to be honest with you.
And I've criticized Kobe off and on a lot over the
for
years.
sure.
But honestly, listen, I thought he had a lot of you-know-what going after James Harden.
Yeah.
In the end, they did get further. Obviously, it ended ugly, but I don't blame Kobe. There's a lot of talent here. He's put a this is a franchise that after LeBron left, they were garbage.
Right.
And he has built them up. So for all the criticisms I've had, some fair, maybe some unfair over the years, Kobe Altman, to me, did not deserve to be fired. You certainly can make the case that Kenny deserved to be fired, but I'm with you guys. In the end, I don't have a problem keeping some stability there if you're going to make changes in the roster.
And the final thing on this, guys, is that if they hold on to the lead in Game 1, it's a different series. I'm not saying that they're going to win the series,
right? But at least it would have been competitive.
And maybe they lose in 5 or 6 games, whatever. But it's going to be more competitive. Our team was deflated; they had nothing left. When they come back 0-2 after losing that lead. You know, that was the game.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go there and steal a game and then bring home court back to your place.
Yeah.
And they had that, and then they didn't.
If this series had gone 6 or 7, I mean, listen, we're
not even having this conversation.
The Knicks are playing great basketball right now.
All-time great.
If they had lost a 6 or 7 hard-fought series to this Knicks team, that, by the way, I think they got a shot to
100%.
No doubt, right?
It's only plus 200
we wouldn't be as ticked off if they had lost a tough series instead of getting swept after that first game. When I come back. Go ahead, G. Final.
And Kobe finds a way, better or worse, to find ways to get things done which we didn't think he can get done.
Yeah.
He always finds a good way to get players like Hunter, and so let's see if he can do it again.
Let's get Giannis.